Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme. This is the show I talk about my investigation into, is Diana Ross actually Michael Jackson's mother? So, in this show, this will be episode 6, and we are going to talk about Michael Jackson's love relationships and stuff like that. So, the first one I actually want to get into is the Marie Presley relationship. So when they got married, the timing of it is obviously odd. There's actually a video of Marie Presley. Also, any of the videos I talk about from now on, I'll have them listed in my playlist instead of me explaining exactly where they are and where to find them and stuff. I'm not going to put them here or anything. I'll put them in my playlist and you can go through them there and find them and stuff, usually if I'm mentioning a video or something I'm talking about. So the Marie Presley video will be her interview on the Howard Stern show. And on Howard Stern, you know, he's going to be asking her all kinds of questions, and he did. This is after they've separated, Michael and Marie. So he's asking her all kinds of questions about her personal. She's getting very personal with the questions she's allowing him to ask her and what she's actually willing to answer. She answered very, very direct questions and inappropriate questions too, and she answered them. Like questions like, have you ever done anal? She answered yes, she has done it. He asked her about, has she ever done lesbian? And she answered yes. So she had no problem to answering any of those questions. But then when he asked her about Michael, it's, why would I marry a man if I didn't love him? She's always asking you to explain her situation. Anytime people, when they do that, they know that you can't properly explain their situation because there's so many details and there's so much going on there. So they know you can't actually do that. And then if you do try to do that, you're going to offend them in a serious way. So they put you in a certain spot by challenging you in that way, knowing that you can't come back and actually try and answer that kind of a question that they're doing it. So that's what the way that they're evasive. These are evasive type of measures. And so when Marie Presley is talking about her relationship with Michael Jackson, it's constantly evasive measures. There's no, she says I love him and then stuff like that, but really when you get into it, it's really evasive measures, and that's what comes out. So she's talking with Howard Stern and she's using her evasive measures real strong. She did it enough to get away from the whole conversation. And but then it came back to one part, it came back to it, and the timing of her marrying him was 1994, and that time. And then she personally says, looking back on it, the timing looks sketchy now. That was her personal statement, which is saying that she's feeling used. She doesn't, so means that she's acknowledging that on his part, it wasn't a real relationship. She's not admitting to her part of it not being real, but she's saying on his part, basically, that's what's going on. So that's the one little interview with them on the Howard Stern. Then the main big interview that they did together was that prime time on Diane Sawyer, and that was in 1995. So you have Michael and Marie sitting there together. They basically never even touch. And this is supposed to be like a newlywed type of couple. There is no affection going on whatsoever. Michael's usually holding his hands on his lap. There's no affection. No affection between these two whatsoever. And if these are newlyweds who are having an intimate relationship, there's contact in a different way that is not going on here. Anybody that actually knows what real intimate relationships are, and if you actually care about somebody the way that they're claiming that they do care about each other, they're definitely claiming that. I hear that, but I don't see it. I don't see it whatsoever. And they're sitting there, and one of the parts, Michael starts to sing to her at one time, and when he sings to her, he comes to life and he actually touches her, starts to touch her, and the way when he's singing to her, it's all romantic, and you start to be like, oh, well, that guy, I could see her being attracted to that guy. There it is. That's the guy. Okay, you can see that. But then when he doesn't sing, boom, it goes right back to actually who the person he actually is. And the relationship is not physical together. And when you look in that interview, They show the clip of the two of them being married. You can go see it also on a separate clip, but it is actually in that interview. They have the clip of them being married, and so they're married in the Dominican Republic, I believe it is, and so when they're being married, there Michael's chewing on bubble gum, and when he says I say I do, I take you to be my wife or something like that, Michael even turns his head away from her. There's no intimacy, there's no love, there's no passion between these two whatsoever. So the conclusion of that relationship is 100% a PR stunt in some fashion, and a PR stunt on that level is done to influence the opinion of the public. You are lying to the public, putting a thought into their head to try and get them to look at you better in a certain way. That marriage is 100% that way. And why would Michael Jackson, with all of the opportunities of all of the women, and he definitely could find somebody that he could trust. It's not like that Lisa Marie would be the only person he could trust. But with her, and it's weird because with her you would think, well, the PR stunt, they didn't do the big wedding. Why wouldn't they do the big wedding if it's a PR stunt? Because right there, that's odd right off of the bat. But there's a lot going on there with it being in the Dominican Republic, and then later on too, when he marries Debbie Rowe, that takes place in Australia. So I'm not the lawyer. I don't technically actually know what happened there, but the way I understand it is both of those weddings, even though they occurred and they were married, once you come back into America, you need to redo your wedding vows or reissue them properly in America to have it be a valid wedding. So there could have been something there that did take place where the weddings took place out of the country, both of them, which is, odd. And one of the things in the interview where Michael was talking to Oprah, and Oprah asked him directly, "Are you a virgin?" And he got really shy and evasive measures, as that's what he comes when they don't want to answer a question. They're going to give you evasive measures. And Oprah was like, "Wow, you're not going to answer that question. Wow, that's really crazy." And he says, I'm a gentleman. So this is his thing. I'm a gentleman. He's portraying this image. This is what he wants you to think of him. I'm a gentleman. That's why I don't do these things. Okay, so would a gentleman ask somebody to marry him that he's not in love with and be chewing on bubble gum at their marriage, and then take Lisa Marie over to the Dominican Republic why wouldn't they have this grand wedding, which would be such a media storm, but they didn't have the grand wedding. It was just odd that they're married. Here they are now. Boom, people here, they're married. They have the fake kiss. I think also on the Arsenio Hall show, Lisa Marie said about the kiss, the way she said that, she said, "I didn't plan that," which means she shows that it was not expected, and that it was something that was a planned thing. This is the way that they worked things out. Things would be planned with them. This is the way that their relationship was. It was a planned relationship from the get-go. So with their relationship, the main thing, it's like, where would Michael ever actually learn to lie to the public on that level? Because if Michael Jackson's the person that we all know, let's always just go back to, let's say the story that we all know to be the story, the American dream, the Jacksons. Okay, let's say we're going by that story. So how does that guy have a fake marriage and lie on that level to the public? How does that occur? Where does that come? Where does that fit into that scenario? Because it happened. Where does he learn how to lie on that level? How does he accept to lie to his fans and to the public on that level? Because the Michael Jackson that I've understood and know would not have done that. Not something that would have been acceptable to him. But he did do it. It's very plain and obvious to see that was a fake marriage. So I'm saying that Diana Ross, at the time when Michael Jackson went to Motown and they went to stay with Diana Ross, and I've seen more interviews to see where Michael has said that he would have stayed with Diana Ross on a number of occasions throughout the years, and they would go on. He would go on vacations with her children, and she would bring Michael along. But I didn't ever hear any of those where they're bringing along any of the other Jackson brothers. You know, none of them are coming along. It's always Michael. The relationship with those two is so wildly insane. I've been reading so much stuff recently. It is just insane. All you ever hear Michael talking about is Diana Ross. And when you hear him talking about it in a relationship type of form, in a fashion, I'm going to get into my time. I'm going to try and cut this short off, and then I'm going to go ahead and make a second video on the same story, and we'll work it that way. So I wanted to talk about the Brooke Shields. I heard an interview where she was on the Jim and Sam show, and Brooke Shields was speaking because people would refer to her as somebody that Michael had a love relationship with. So Brooke Shields stated that she didn't lose her virginity until she was 22 years old, and she was dating Dean Cain. That's the person. And she was dating him for 2 years before they had sex. So her relationship, and the way she states it, is that when they would hang out, that they acted like they were little kids together. It was so pure and innocent, just really friends. And they would flirt and do stuff for the cameras and stuff like that. But that's all it was ever with them. They were just purely friends. So there's no sexual relationship with Brooke Shields whatsoever. Nothing with Lisa Marie Presley. Don't see anything with these people that are the big names. Diana Ross, what I believe happened is that Diana Ross in the Motown time, when Michael and them would first start stay with her, she would have pulled Michael aside and informed him, Michael, I'm your mother. She would have told him certain things like, I love you more than anything in the world. These are the things that screwed Michael up bad. Because remember, Michael's like 10 years old at this time. Michael would have known Diana Ross. He knew who she was before any of the stuff, before he finds out that she's his mother. He knows who she is. And that's where, like, he's looking at her. He already, like, is attracted to her in that kind. He looks at her. She's a beautiful woman. She's a huge star. He would respect her immensely and be an admirer in her before he finds out that she's the mother. So then, when she finds out that she's the mother, Michael's now like in a weird thing, and he's still admiring her, and now she's telling him, I love you. You're the most special thing in the world to me. You mean more to me than anything. We have a bond that nobody can ever break. We have this special secret. We have our secret, special secret in our own secret world, and Michael Jackson now, his life has changed, and he has a bond with Diana Ross. Instantly, his life has changed in a massive direction. And that's where I think his psyche is fractured. And it's hard for him to deal with this situation as it develops. And he doesn't know actually how to deal with it in a lot of situations. He is just constantly, from that point on, looking at Diana, saying, Diana, you said you loved me. When am I ever going to get the love? Because at that time, remember, she starts to have children and starts to have a family. And he instantly, so as soon as she says, you're my child, he starts to say, when am I going to get the love that you actually given to your family? I'm not ever getting that love. And this is where the real desire for Michael to be with his mother originates from. And this is his passions, and this is his pains. So I'm going to cut this video off now, and we will talk about this more in the next one. Thank you.